Is it worth to switch from an iPhone 14 Pro Max to a 16 Pro Max? Watch all this video and let's find that out. Hey, what's up? It's always me, Johnny, and welcome to my new video. So today, as you read from the title, we are gonna do a little comparison between the iPhone 14 Pro Max, that's been my main device for the last 2 years, and the 16 Pro Max that I've just bought to test it and try it and compare it with my main device. So this is gonna be mainly a performance test, so we're gonna do some benchmark, we're gonna see how they manage like opening application and stuff like that. It will come also a camera test comparison, so make sure to subscribe down below to stay updated for that video too. Anyway, a few words on why I am still on my 14 Pro Max. Long story short, I tried last year the 15 Pro Max. I'm testing right now the 16 Pro Max. There is not that much of a difference between these two devices. So for me, it does not make much sense to switch from one to another. One thing that I wish I had on my Pro Max, it is the USB-C, because it is mainly the only issue that I have on my device right now. Because for the cameras, right here I have my 3x and right here we have a 5x telezoom camera, but the difference is like minor, so you don't even notice the difference in the day-by-day usage. Anyway, that being said, let's start with the test and let's see which is the fastest device, or let's see if there is that much of a difference between 2 years apart of iPhones. So first of all, let's unlock our iPhones. Of course, they have both Face ID, so that's really fast on both devices. We do not make that comparison because it doesn't make any sense. So first of all, we're gonna see that we have 63% battery life right here, 64% right there. And then we're gonna compare that to at the end of this test. First comparison, let's boot up this phone. Let's power them off and then let's power them on and let's see who is the fastest. As you could see, my iPhone 14 Pro Max was a little bit faster on the boot up at showing the Apple logo. Maybe the 16 Pro Max, it will come back. No, it's not. So the 14 Pro Max comes ahead and just powered on first. And let's just remind that this device has 2 years and it's been my main device, so it's been used like daily. So first thing that I'm gonna notice is that I have 62% right here of battery life and 65% right here. So wasn't that 64? Anyway, this is of course a new battery, so it does have a little bit more juice because it's 100% battery life battery. And this one, I think it's on 90 something. Let's watch it right now. It is on 93%, so there is like a good 7% differences between the two batteries. But anyway, they are both pretty new. So let's start with the test and let's see who is the fastest device in opening applications. So let's start with the weather. Pretty much identical, a little bit faster here on the 16 Pro Max. And also, as you can see right here on the 16 Pro Max, you can see the little and very new small edges, screen edges, compared to my old, we can say, 14 Pro Max. So here we have a little bit more of screen edge, but right here we have very, very thin screen edges right there on the 16 Pro Max. That's very, very pleasing. And actually, as I just compared in my unboxing video, the 16 Pro Max, yeah, they just paired. Anyway, the 16 Pro Max, it's a little bit bigger, so by like 2 millimeters or something like that. So it is a little bit bigger, and also it does have thinner bezels. It does look like much more bigger on the screen side. Anyway, first up was the weather. Second up, let's go for the calendar. Pretty much the same. Let's do clock. Same thing. App Store. Pretty much the same one. Let's go into games, for example. A little bit faster on the 16 Pro Max. Let's go into settings. Same stuff. Calculator. go on basic on both devices. Pretty much the same one. Let's go Instagram. A little bit faster actually on the 16 Pro Max. Let's go for YouTube. A little bit faster also on the 16 Pro Max. Let's go Prime Video. Same story. Always a little bit faster on the 16 Pro Max. The Final Cut camera. Pretty much the same story. Let's go for the Amazon app. A little bit faster on the 16 Pro Max because on the 14 Pro Max we had the animation of the offers from Amazon. Let's open this little game right here. We have game mode on both of devices because we have iOS 18 on both devices. So a little bit faster on the 16 Pro Max. Let's go for Subway Surfer. It's a little bit faster on the 16 Pro Max. So let's play. I mean, if you play, we don't have any issues on both devices. Let's start with some benchmark. Let's see Geekbench, how it is on both these devices. I don't know why it took a little bit more on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. That says it's called iPhone 17.2. I don't know why. This is iPhone 14 Pro Max, of course. Let's do a CPU benchmark. And as you can see, these are the different clocks. So A16 Bionic on 14 Pro Max versus the A18 Pro on the 16 Pro Max with 8 GB of RAM versus 6 GB of RAM on the 14 Pro Max. Let's run the test and let's see the score. The iPhone 16 Pro Max has just finished a little bit more than 4 minutes, and the 14 Pro Max is not finished yet. So we're gonna wait a little bit more to see the score comparison between the two. But of course, if this just finished before that, of course, the score is gonna be higher. And in fact, the single core score, it is almost 1,000 more on the 16 Pro Max compared to the 14 Pro Max. And same story, it's almost 2,000 more points on the 16 Pro Max on the multi-core score. So that is a lot actually. So if you want to check all the statistics right here, maybe just pause the video and see what you are interested in. But these are the main scores. So of course there is 2 years of technology between these two devices. Then let's go for the 3D Mark test right here. And let's do for both devices the Wildlife Extreme test because it's available on both devices. Let's hit start button. You're gonna see it already that right here we have almost, and I think no, it's not almost, it is 10 or plus more FPS on the 16 Pro Max. So right here it is like a little bit laggy and there is a little bit of stutter in the game or in the gameplay, we can say. But right here, it just runs at minimum of 30 FPS or a little bit more lower, but it is completely fine. It is not stuttering or lagging or anything like that. The benchmark has just finished. And as you can see, we have plus than 1,000 points more on the 16 Pro Max, and the average frame rate was 27.5, and right here was a little bit less than 20 FPS. So here it's completely fine, completely free of lag or almost. There is only some situation where the game goes under the 20 FPS. So it's just the more complicated scenes, but overall, I mean, it does a pretty good job, and it goes also beyond the 30 FPS cap right here. And here, as we can see, it does not go over 24 FPS. So this is a very, very big difference in games. I mean, if you use this device for gaming, maybe if you want to play those new games available for the newest iPhone, I mean, you should buy or the 15 Pro series or the 16 Pro series for the ray tracing, all the other stuff. But comparing also the raw power of both devices, I mean, the 16 Pro Max, it is very, very powerful actually. Anyway, let's do a RAM test And let's remind that right here we have 6 gigabytes of RAM, right here we have 8 gigabytes of RAM. So let's see if there are any reloads in the applications. Much smooth right here. Let's open maybe YouTube. No reloads. Instagram. No reloads. Prime Video. Nope. Final Cut. Always ready. Subway Surfer. Always ready. For the RAM management, so for the memory management, I mean, they are both very good devices, especially because Apple just optimized this device the best that they can. Maybe if you have like an older device than the 14 Pro Max, maybe you could just see some reload. I guess right here is not the case yet. It just did a very, very good job. Anyway, let's throw some conclusion. So let's watch the battery. Here we have 60%, here we have 56%. So we start with 62 right here and 64 right here. So we have a 4% of battery loss for all those tests right here and a 6% of battery loss on my 14 Pro Max. So there is also a little bit difference right here. And let's remind that on the 16 Pro Max, there is a little bit more of a bigger battery and it's also a fresh battery. So 100% with like 5 or 6 cycle on the battery. So it is pretty much very, very new. And of course, this is why here we have a 4% battery loss and right here we have a 6% loss. Anyway, thinking to the first question that I asked on this video. So should you switch from the 14 Pro Max to a 16 Pro Max? The short answer is no, because I mean, there's not that much of a difference. You will not see those points difference in the benchmark in the real life usage, and you will not see also this battery drain usage on the daily usage. So there is pretty much no difference at all. You will not see also the thinner bezels every day and all of the other stuff. As I said, the answer is no. It's not very convenient to switch from a 2-year-old iPhone to a new one. There are some plus, because on the 16 Pro Max, first of all, we have 256 gigabytes of storage on the base model. Right here, I have 128, and that's a very bad thing because it was a Pro Max, and 128 gigabytes, it's a little bit too low as a storage starting base for a phone like this. The one and the only thing that I care the most, it is the USB-C and also the transfer speed of files and videos and all of that stuff with USB-C. And unfortunately, right here, I am stuck with the Lightning port. Other than that, the 14 Pro Max is still a very, very good device. It is still a beast. It does very, very good job also making photos and videos without any problem still. If you want to spend money and if you have the opportunity, of course, just switch to the 16 Pro Max. But if you don't, just stick with your 14 Pro Max, or maybe if you thought on buy this 14 Pro Max for a good price, just buy it. It is still very, very good device. Also, that stuff with the camera control right here and the action button, I mean, they are just a small feature that you probably will never use in your daily life. I mean, the action button, it is kinda useful sometimes. I mean, I have mapped mine on different stuff right here, so it does more than one thing, but the camera control button, I mean, it is kind of useless right now, but I'm not gonna go into that. Feeling side, it is the 14 Pro Max, it is a little bit heavier, as you may know, because the stainless steel, it is a little bit more heavier than the titanium, and the titanium, it is a little bit more slick in your hand, so it feels a little bit better to hold a titanium phone. But other than that, there is not that much of a difference between the two devices. So this video is taking too much of your time, so let's send it up right here. Write down in the comment section what you think about these two phones, and also let me know with a like if you liked this video. If you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, just hit the subscribe button down below, and as always, thank you for watching my video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye for now.